Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. Today we have a Beastmen versus Empire matchup. Um, and I brought a slightly different build than I usually do. I brought a main line here of Goreherd with shields, as I was expecting some ranged fire on my troops. And these guys are just pretty solid. There's really not much in the Empire roster that can really trash these guys. They stand up decently well against flagellants, and they do fine against great swords. They won't trade cost effectively, probably, but they're so much cheaper you can kind of swarm them. So I have 5 of these in my main line. I have 1 Bestigor in the back, just for some armor-piercing damage. 3 Ungor Spearherds spread out, 1 on this side, supporting Chaos Warhounds and Centaurs with great weapons. Some Centaurs with great weapons and Warhounds also on this side. I do have 2 units of Ungor Raiders here, just to have something to counteract Flying Lords or range units. I do have Morgar the Shadowgave, of course. I have a Bracement of Death, which is also slightly different for me. I usually bring Lore of the Wild, but I figured I'd bring some Death to again try and counter the heroes, the Griffins, with some Spirit Leech. And I do have Gorbull over here, and I brought him very cheapened with nothing but Slaughterer's Call, mostly for that 8 leadership and that 8 melee attack. So wherever he is, he's going to keep this Primal Fury going. So basically, whenever he's nearby, all these guys will definitely have immunity to psychology. And I brought Spearmen on one side. Here I was hoping to kind of have a strong flank where I could use Spearmen to decisively engage. And on this side, I was going to play kind of like a back and forth game and just really distract until the moment occurred where I could come in and get some of his range units. But that is unlikely to happen in this matchup. You can see here he has a very Napoleonic style of play lined up. He's got a main line of pikes, of halberds, here with their anti-armor, anti-large damage. So if I'd brought mostly Minotaurs, this would be very, very scary. He does have handgunners in the middle, so very pike and shot-esque, and then a huge line of spearmen in the back. And he also does have 2 Demigryph Knights with halberds, so one of which is the Royal Aldifrified. So tons of anti-large damage, and he does have a Witch Hunter, which is also great against large targets because it's hard for him to shoot otherwise. And he has just a General of the Empire on his horse, which I think is not a bad pick against the Beastmen. Going cheap on the Lord. So we're going to get started right away. He does have the definite advantage with ranged troops, so I'm just going to be rushing ahead. You can see Gorbull running over here. I'm going to try to not engage Gorbull until the handgunners are dealt with or otherwise occupied, because he can be shot to death very easily with some armor-piercing damage. Because usually his 100 armor protects him, but not against handgunners. His line is a little bit longer than mine, so I do have to be aware of that. I'm going to try and just line up all my charges here, and I know my Goreherd are going to win this fight. They will at least trade cost effectively here. So I'm not too worried about this front line. What I'm worried about is these flanks, because I feel like he can definitely win them if he uses his spears and his anti-large correctly. So I'm going to be hyper-aggressive in the front and avoidant on the flanks. So here the General of Empire, already getting that Spirit Leech going. I'm going to be rushing in, getting these Ungor Raiders to start firing on these handgunners. You can see they're already obstructed. They actually are firing at the Spearmen, definitely a mistake. As I posture up on the flanks, and this main line kind of engages. So, wow. I can't believe I clicked. This poor Spearman, what a waste. You can see I am shooting those guys, though. What I'm going to do is actually cast Fate of Buna on this guy, this handgunner, and just watch how much damage it does. Those hit points just drop so fast, especially when I start peppering him with Ungor Raider fire. This entire unit of handgunners, one of the critical pieces of the Empire army, is just going to be taken off the field by that Bracement of Death. So definitely very powerful there with the Fate of Buna. Still a useful spell. And you can see here I've kind of made a clump that I want to crush through. I have Gorbull, who's supporting these Bestigors, and you can see with his bonuses And with Primal Fury, they do have 47 melee attack. So definitely becomes cost effective when you support them with the Gorbel. And you can see here just trading along the front line, essentially. And you can see he can't really leave with his Demigryphs because I'm postured up all behind him, but I'm not engaging. You can see another Spirit Leech drop in, and Gorbol is going to eat this poor General of the Empire alive. You do not want to have him engaged there. So you can see, already got most of those handgunners off the field, so my Gorbol will be safe, and now he'll just be taking on that General of the Empire. Spearman again on the flanks, just waiting. I'm going to charge these guys into the flank of the Halberds because this Gore herd was losing so badly. I'm going to try and get a cheeky charge with my Warhounds. You can see the General of the Empire take a lot of damage. And now I'm going to be shooting at the back of these Royal Aldrich Griffites. You can see here he lets me charge in, and he comes chasing after these Centaurs. They are, unless I micro them poorly, they are not going to get caught. So I'm just going to pull away here, and you can see my Chaos Warhounds eating these guys from behind. Gorbol is taking out this Witch Hunter. Here comes the General of the Empire. But again, getting Spirit Leeched. Morgar, you can see over here, is slaughtering on this side. And you can see all those anti-large are not going to be useful, I think, in the current meta of Beastmen. I see a lot more like infantry armies than I do monstrous armies for the Beastmen. And so all these Halberds, it's hard for them to be cost effective unless they're fighting like all Bestigor herds. But like I said, you usually see like Gore herd or the like 2-axed Gore herd version. You can see my Bray Shaman of Death coming in here. He did use his potion, so he's back up, but here comes a Chaos Spawn. And I get a nice engagement here with my Centaurs, my Chaos Warhounds with poison, and then here comes some Spearmen. So I'm going to start sandwiching these guys. It looks like I did get these guys caught, which was definitely a mistake on my part. But I'm going to zone him out with some Spearmen, and then try and flank around with these Centaurs. But, you know, the game's not going to last that long. You can see these guys can't get away from those Warhounds. They're poisoned. There's spears involved. It's just going to be a general shatter here. So definitely a good game. If I had brought a hugely monstrous army, I think I would have been slaughtered here. Poor Minotaurs shot and poked to death, but you can see my Gore herd here all did amazing. 107, 76, 61, 64, 80. So great kills for a 500 gold unit. You can see this Bestigor untouched by essentially, and just 70 kills. So really good stuff. And my heroes didn't do too much. My Bray Shaman of Death didn't get any kills, but he did allow those Ungor Raiders here to slaughter that handgunner unit because he dropped the health on all the units by a lot. So each arrow kind of essentially took out a dude. You can see here these Halberds just struggling to be cost effective. These handgunners getting signaled out, and these Royal Aldrich Griffites just in the end, army losses got them. And Witch Hunter, always nice to see them. You don't see them very much in the current meta, but great to see kind of people trying new armies, trying kind of this pike and shot build, which I find extremely fun and very Empire-ly thematic. So definitely great game to DD Dog, and thanks for watching. That's that.